So let me say something that might make some people feel a little bit uncomfortable. Today's events aren't bad. They're ultimately just forgettable. We don't remember them. And the thing is, like, the screens work and the lights look good. It feels amazing. The schedule runs on time. Hell yeah. And then 2 weeks later, no one can actually remember your event and why it mattered. Because if people don't remember your event, did it actually happen? So welcome to Stage Dive. We started this off last year, and it was like a masterclass live stream thing where people could attend. And then late in the year, we ran into this issue where we weren't available, the audience wasn't available. So we decided, let's do it a little bit differently. Let's turn it into these YouTube videos that people can watch in their own time, and hopefully they can still get some value out of it. Shorter, quicker, and more easy to consume. So here's the big thing. The events industry isn't short on talent. It definitely is not short on technology, and it's definitely not short on any kind of effort. But we believe that it is short on courage. Somewhere along the way, we confused being professional with playing it safe. So we end up repeating the formats that have worked before. We avoid the uncomfortable conversations, and we design events that ultimately doesn't offend anyone. And then in doing so, we end up not inspiring anyone. Now, safe events don't fail. They just ultimately disappear. Now, I have to be a little bit clear here and say I'm not talking about doing a reckless event. Risk doesn't have to mean chaos. Risk doesn't mean there's bad planning. And risk doesn't mean that we allow any sort of technical failure. No, risk is something that can be intentional. It's about choosing clarity over consensus. It's about knowing what your event stands for, and it's about designing with purpose instead of designing with fear. And here's something that we learned from doing this for years. We do more than 1,000 events per year. Every single event, regardless of size and budget, is remembered for one moment. We usually tell people remember their favorite part and they remember the ending. So let's talk about this favorite part, this one massive moment. These moments are not about your agenda. It is not about your speaker lineup. It's one singular moment that matters to the audience. So before you start planning anything, you need to ask yourself a very specific question. What is that one moment we want people to remember and talk about post-event? And then if you can't answer that in one sentence, your event is actually playing it too safe. Those moments need to do 3 different kind of things. They have to interrupt your audience's thinking. It has to break the expectation, and it has to shift something inside them. It has to connect with your audience emotionally, intellectually, and ultimately human to human. And then it has to mean something. It reinforces why the event exists in the first place. Now, sometimes that moment can be silence. Sometimes it might be a story. And sometimes it's restraint, not kind of spectacle. But it's never accidental. So here's the thing that I want you to do before you start with your next event, before you book your venue, caterers, suppliers, tech companies. I want you to do this. Step 1, write down the moment that's important. One clear sentence. Then step 2, I want you to design backwards from that one moment. Understand your content, understand what your tech needs to do, understand the lighting, most importantly, understand the pacing, understand the beats that you need to hit to achieve that emotional connection with your audience. Because ultimately, I want you to stop playing it safe, but I don't want you to play it reckless. Because safe events ultimately fill time. Intentional events create a memory, and memory is ultimately then what will drive action with you and your audience. I hope that you are willing to be brave this year and start to think a little bit different. Focus on that. What is that one thing that your audience will remember? Work backwards from it. Share it with your suppliers. Have conversations with your suppliers about achieving that one single thing, and stop creating events that's for everyone that ultimately ends up not being for anyone.